What's up, buddy?
What's up?
And a pleasant good evening. Welcome to Buffalo Wild Wings off Dave Lyle Boulevard in Rock Hill. This is our Winthrop Coaches Show, and it is an exciting evening as the men's team is 2-0 coming off a win against the Clemson Tigers, 77-74 on Monday. The women's team 1-1 and headed to Knoxville to take on Tennessee on Friday. Glad you're with us. If you want to contribute to the show, we'd love to have your questions on Twitter. Hashtag Woo Coaches. That's hashtag WU Coaches on Twitter. We start with men's coach Pat Kelsey this evening. It was a terrific win on Monday. When you went back and reviewed the tape, what were the 2 or 3 major differences that allowed you to win the game?
Well, we made shots, and that helps. We have 3 guards that are 3 of the elite shooters in the country, and at various times throughout the game, they all made big shots. Andre got us off to a great start, making big shots to kind of give us a shot in the arm a little bit, no pun intended, to get us going. And, Keon Johnson was the Keon Johnson of old, sort of mid-game, and hit some big shots. And Keon Moore, sort of brought it home a little bit. So that was big. And the second thing is, I think, a very, very underrated thing as it pertains to winning that game was the effort that our post players gave defending Noko. He is a humongous human being. He takes up the entire lane. And we told our guys, if you can guard him for 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes at a time, till exhaustion, give a fist and we'll put somebody else on him. And Tevin Prescott probably guarded him the most, but Jared Scott guarded him, and Xavier Cooks guarded him, and Joseph Lopez guarded him, and Dubio KK guarded him. And not only was it a one-man commitment to post defense, it had to be a 5-man commitment to post defense. And I thought our guys did a good job of pressuring the passer to limit their easy looks inside. And we tried to crowd him at all times on the backside as well. And it's not easy because their system is to get him the ball. And we knew it was going to be a long night defending him and defending them. And I thought especially our post players just gave it everything they got to try to limit his touches.
Brad Brunell has been a Division I coach for 15 years. His team has been top 50 in the NCAA in scoring defense in all 15 of those years. But you put up 77 points and you turn the ball over only 6 times. How is it that you dealt with that strong defense so effectively?
Well, we have good guards. I said it the other day. I was talking to Brett McCormick, and I just said, I'm lucky in that I can sleep at night knowing that for the most part we're usually going to have good ball security because we have veteran guards. And, so you have a pretty good feeling that big-time pressure is not going to bother you. Now, we got a big challenge in that regard tomorrow night, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. But, I think that was part of it. Brad is a phenomenal coach. He's one of the best X and O coaches in the country. I watch Clemson tape all the time because I'm trying to pick up, even when we're not playing him, I'm trying to pick up pointers. He's an unbelievable tactician, especially on the defensive end, but on the offensive end as well. And we knew it was going to be a really, really tough night. We knew we were going to have to score in transition. We thought that was one way where our shooters could get loose a little bit, and we got some transition buckets. You do it at your own peril because you worry about shooting quick, and then they go down and put you in the grinder a little bit, and that could be a recipe for disaster. But we thought the way that we could win was get early shots, good open shots. But then, at the end of the day, we had to execute with great toughness because they really, really take away your strengths. That's what he does. And, the world knows that we're a good shooting team, and we have to shoot the ball well to win games. And a lot of the shots that we made early on or throughout the game were tough shots, and we tried our best to manufacture them, but a lot of times they were contested. But, good shooters, good scorers, taking shots is what you need, and a lot of them found the bottom of the net.
How much of the success last year in the tournament, playing in front of the big stage last night, I think most of the Southeast saw the game on Monday night. How important was that experience in the tournament carrying over into the first part of this year?
Yeah, I think it was big. Certain guys, Keon Johnson, Keon Moore, Andre Smith, Derrick Henry, Joshua Davenport, our perimeter players, you're right. Those guys are all battle tested, but they have a really good demeanor about them. I'll use Keon Johnson as an example, and I say this all the time. His demeanor just stays straight down the middle no matter what. I joke all the time, and I say if Keon wins the lottery, or his dog gets run over by the car, he has the exact same expression on his face. And sometimes that's his greatest weakness, but it's also his greatest strength because he doesn't get high with the highs and lows with the lows. He doesn't care if you're going into a lion's den. He's just going to play. And, Andre's a guy I think that has sort of evolved into that. He's logged so many minutes at the college level. He's been in so many tough environments. And, it's neat to see his evolution to be able to perform at a high level in an environment like that. And, Keon Moore sort of the same way. He's just naturally wired to score. And, Brad said some really, really nice things about our team and, especially about those three guards after the game, which means a lot to me because I respect his basketball opinion so much.
We kind of had an idea that the guards would be good this year because it's the same guys that were good last year. The posts were a major question mark, and maybe to some degree they still are, but they've gotten you 2 wins, beating Pfeiffer 82-59 in the opener and then the win down at Little John on Monday. How would you grade out or how would you evaluate your post play in 2 games?
Well, you mentioned the post players are still a question mark. We're still a question mark. I mean, we're 2 games in. If you would have been at our preseason scrimmages, which you weren't at, you would have thought you were looking at a completely different team than you saw the other night on the floor at Clemson. We were terrible. We got our butts kicked. And we're a work in progress like every team's a work in progress. The season is long. It's a marathon. There's ups and downs. There's goods and bads. And we played well the other night. And we won a big game. And I'm proud of our players. And I told them in the locker room to enjoy it because we work really hard. And these wins are very, very valuable. But I said, fellas, when your eyelids open tomorrow morning, this one is over. And, we enjoyed it for that night and turned the page and turned our sole attention to a very, very tough, hard-playing Savannah State team tomorrow night. So it'll be an unbelievable challenge and a really good indicator as to where the maturity of our team is to how we respond tomorrow when we get on that bus or when we get off that bus down at Savannah State. And, our focus the last 2 days in preparation, I've been very proud of. I mean, I don't think there's been much slippage, and we as a coaching staff had to make sure we held our guys just as accountable getting ready for Clemson as we are getting ready for Savannah State.
Dave mentioned the young post, Joseph Lopez, Xavier Cooks. They came in and gave you some good minutes on Monday night. But you talked to Dave after the game on the 104.7 on the bridge, and you talked about just how important it was, the tutoring that they got from 2 guys that aren't on the floor.
Yeah,
right now.
no question. And that's a game like the other night is a team effort. And we already talked about the shots that our guards made, and we talked about the unbelievable effort that we got from our post players to develop, to defend NoCo. But it's really neat behind the scenes to see the type of tutoring, the type of mentoring that guys like James Bourne and Larry Brown are doing. Both guys that have meant a lot to this program, that have done a lot to help build the culture that we have here, that we've been trying to build since I got the job. And although those guys can't be on the floor, they're constantly in Doobie's ear. They're constantly in Jared Scott's ear. They're constantly in Xavier Cooks' ear and Joey Lopez's ear. And because both of those guys really know our system inside and out. They could go out and coach practice just like Derrick Henry could, just like Andre Smith could, just like Keon Moore could. And that's what's cool when you get your system rolling, when you get your pack line system installed, that players speak your language. And Dubio KK and Xavier Cooks and Joey Lopez, they don't know our language yet. They're trying. They want to learn it really, really bad. But to have upperclassmen teaching your system is something really special, and we're lucky to have that, whether they're injured or whether they're not.
We're live at Buffalo Wild Wings off Dave Lyle Boulevard in Rock Hill. This is our Winthrop Coaches Show. You can send questions for Coach Kelsey, and coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll talk to women's coach Kevin Cook and a selection of the women's basketball players. You can send us questions using hashtag WooCoaches on Twitter. That's hashtag WUCoaches. Hope you'll join us here at Buffalo Wild Wings Happy Hour 4 to 8. $3 domestics, $4 and $5 craft and imports. Come see our buddy Diego. Great new Chipotle cherry sting sauce available. Lots going on at Buffalo Wild Wings here in Rock Hill. We'll come back with more live from BW3 on the Winthrop Sports Network. It's our Winthrop Coaches Show. We're 115 days before Selection Sunday. The Eagles, the men's team, at 2-0 on the year, and they will take on the Tigers of Savannah State tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll have pregame coverage beginning at 7:30, Winthrop and Savannah State tomorrow. Then the men's team is home for East Tennessee State at 7 o'clock on Monday. The women's team is at Tennessee Friday, at North Carolina Central Tuesday, and then home November 29th, a 1 o'clock game against Auburn. And that's going to be a special day at the Coliseum, a great fundraiser taking place on the 29th. You can get all the information at winthropeagles.com, but the Lutzy 43 Foundation will be getting donations at the door for that game. And Mike, that's just a terrific story. A former Winthrop student athlete, her brother played at Auburn, and a football player was tragically killed, and a great opportunity to promote a good cause.
Yeah, and worked with us on the Big South Network broadcast. So obviously a tragic story, but trying to turn something and create awareness and really celebrate a really good kid and who had a short life, but an eventful life.
So again, the men's team plays home Monday against East Tennessee State, and then that fundraiser and all the information is available at winthropeagles.com November 29th when the Auburn Tigers come calling at 1 o'clock, and you can get that information online. But the first thing on the agenda is tomorrow's game at Savannah State. We bring back in Winthrop men's coach Pat Kelsey. Savannah State is 0-2, but they have not yet played a home game, and MEAC teams tend to play well at home. They're a defensive-minded team. Offense at this point in the year has been a little bit missing, and last year they only averaged 65 points a game, but they really hold their opponents down. They want to slow the game down. Tell us about the Tigers.
Well, you're right. They're an elite defensive team. Last year you and I are both basketball analytic guys, Mike, you as well, and Ken Palm, they were, I think, top 60 in the country in defense. And I know it's only 2 games in, but if you look at their analytics for this year, same thing. They're 50, 60, 65 or so in overall defensive efficiency. They've struggled a little bit on the offensive end, but here's the thing with them. As you watch them on tape and then you talk to other people around the country that have either played them or that know their league really well, they say, first and foremost, you have to convey to your players how hard they're going to play. And then you go, okay, yeah, I got that. And then they interrupt you and they go, no. They play hard. So their activity on the defensive end is a big way they produce offense. So really, we talked about to our guys, there's 3 main things that we got to stop with them from our perspective on the defensive end is, 1, their ability to score in transition. 2 is their ability to create offense off their defense. They're going to throw 800 different presses at us. They're going to throw a whole bunch of different half-court defenses at them with a ton of activity. They want to trap. They want to get deflections. They want to steal the ball. They just want to create havoc so they can go down and get easy shots on the other end. And then last but not least, they score between the pipes. It's down low in the trenches, in the box, as we like to call them, whether it's on post-ups, whether it's on duck-ins, whether it's on violent drives, or whether it's on offensive rebounds. But that's the 3 ways they score, and we have to be ready for it. It's an unorthodox type game, and our guys have to have great poise. You mentioned, only having 6 turnovers against Clemson, who's a phenomenal defensive team, but for the most part, Brad's teams are more contain-oriented. They're not going to get out in passing lanes and disrupt you as much. They're going to hurt you with ball pressure, and they're going to know their scouting report like the back of their hand. Now, these guys are totally different. They're going to try to challenge every pass. They're going to diamond press you. They're going to soft press you. They're going to run and jump at you. So it'll be interesting. We had to, in 2 quick days, get our guys prepared for that style of game. But we know it's going to be a battle. Their coach is known for tough teams, hard-playing teams, and we like to think we're known for the same thing, so it's going to be a heck of a battle.
They have 11 freshmen and sophomores on the roster. Their high-returning scorer averaged under 6 points a game last year. How difficult a scout is it with kind of transfers, junior college guys, freshmen, only having seen 2 games on tape? Are you clear on who can do what on their roster?
You do your best, to try to get – we have obviously as much footage as we can get from this year, but you try to do background stuff in terms of trying to understand, what guys' tendencies are and what they like to do. But then you also really focus your scout when you have an early season game like this where there's not a huge body of work on system. Coach Brodnax's teams are known for playing a certain style and playing a certain way, and they have an offensive package that he does every single year. So you have to really understand their tendencies and what they want to do in terms of their team system, and hope you have as much background and things like that on them personnel, and those are some things we can adjust to throughout the game.
And what's interesting, Pat, somewhat a little bit maybe of a flavor of Big South Conference in the sense that you play them, and then 2 games later you play them again. So the scouting report will be fresh in the players' minds.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think I'll have to just wait till that second game to see how this whole thing is. But it is kind of weird. But a lot of teams around the country are doing that. Especially this summer when we were working hard to get Division I teams to come to the Coliseum and play us in home and home. The thing I joked about in the offseason was my first 2 years, I looked around all these coaches that always complained about scheduling. I said, man, the scheduling thing's easy. and then I realized because everybody wanted to play us. And then I think on paper they saw the guys we had coming back, and it got a little bit more difficult to schedule. And I think Savannah State's sort of similar in that way because they're not a fun team to play against just because of their style. And especially when you're in somebody else's gymnasium, you're going to get their best shot. And again, I keep saying it, but we're trying to prepare our guys, and I think they have a very firm understanding of how difficult a game will be tomorrow because of how hard they're going to play. And we got to match that.
You can ask questions for Coach Kelsey and women's coach Kevin Cook and some of the women's players who will join us in a matter of moments on Twitter using hashtag #WooCoaches. That's hashtag WUCoaches. A question from Twitter for you, Coach, about Zach Price. Is there any update on his situation?
No.
Is there any timetable on when you might know something?
Your guess is as good as mine, but we're hoping to hear something soon.
If he could play, how big of an impact would he make?
Pretty big.
If he does not,
Zach's a good player, and he's a really big kid, and he's very, very good close to the basket, and he provides sort of a physical presence that we don't have. And it's one thing I do want to say about Zach, and we talked about James and Larry and their ability to make an impact off the floor. And Zach's a little bit different because he can make an impact on the floor because he's in a uniform every day in practice. But one really, really pleasant surprise was the way that he interacts with the young bigs. And the way, because – shoot, he's played for, maybe the best coach, the best college basketball coach on planet Earth, arguably. And he's played at a really –
the best that doesn't coach in Logan, Utah.
He's so Zach knows college basketball, and he's a smart player, and he's a great kid, and he's got an infectious personality. And even today, we were kind of walking through an action that Savannah State is going to use against us. And he almost stopped practice. And I saw him over there grabbing Doobie and talking to him. And right when I was getting ready to go to the next thing, I just stepped back and let him finish. And he was talking about foot positioning and not letting the post player get a certain angle and how to beat him on the high-low and spin behind and push him out of the box. And it dawned on me how lucky we are, to have guys like James, like Larry, and an experienced college player like Zach bring along these young bigs.
Final question on Zach Price, and maybe it'll be the final question we ask all year, because if he doesn't play, he's not a storyline. If he is out this year, do you get him for 1 year or 2 years starting next season?
I don't know that.
Lots of questions and not a lot of answers.
Next year would be, his 5th year of college basketball. So, you get, by rule, 4 years to play 5, but there are plenty of instances where guys – are granted a 6 year for various circumstances. So I don't know. It's all up in the air at this point.
One thing when players are coming back from injury, Pat, the timetable sometimes you're not sure how things are going. But Derrick Henry looks like he's stepped right in and kind of picked up where he left off.
No, Derrick, and he's in the starting lineup right now, and it gives you such comfort as a head coach to know the toughness that you're starting the game off with. And I've told you guys many times that I've asked him to really sort of become the heart and soul and the voice of our defense. And that does not mean I don't need that young man to score, because it's something that he's wired to do. But he's really taken on that role, and I'm proud of him. And, we guarded a very, very good high-level ACC team the other night, and it wasn't easy. And I like to think a lot of it was just because of the heart and soul and the sweat and the blood and the tears that Derrick's been throwing into our defense, and it's infectious on the rest of the players. So Derek's a really, really good leader, tough kid, and he sort of imposes his toughness or it's infectious on the rest of the guys.
One thing I wanted to ask, because when we're at practice year after year, one thing you always hear coaches talk about is communicate. And for early in the season, that Monday's shoot-around, I thought the communication was exactly where you want it to be. I mean, guys were active and talking, and you guys didn't have to really encourage that as much.
Yeah. I think when you have veteran guys like Derrick Henry and Keon Moore and even now Andre Smith has evolved into that, it makes my job easier. And you want a team where the coach doesn't have to be the sole or the dominant voice in practice. And the more you can get other guys to do that, the better. And to have those young guys see or listen or hear how those older guys try to sort of be coaches on the floor and talk and communicate, it's great, because hopefully in 2 or 3 years I'm sitting here talking to you about how Joey Lopez and Xavier Cooks and Dubio KK are the heart and soul and the voice of our practices, and now it's infectious on the new crop of guys coming in. That's how it works when you have a system and you have a culture.
All right, Coach, you can go prep for Savannah State now if you can get your daughter away from the bar.
Easy. Mom, don't listen to that. There's no other seats in this place. They had to sit at the bar. It's a little West Side Cincinnati thing.
Winthrop coach Pat Kelsey joining us from Buffalo Wild Wings. The Eagles play at Savannah State tomorrow at 8. We'll have pregame coverage beginning at 7:30. We'll talk to members of the Winthrop women's basketball team and Coach Kevin Cook when we come back on the Winthrop Sports Network. Start your weekend on Thursday nights. 60-cent boneless wings happy hour Monday through Friday, 4 to 8. $3 domestics, $4 and $5 craft and imports. And don't forget to try the new Chipotle Cherry Sting Sauce here at Buffalo Wild Wings. The men's team is home against East Tennessee State on Monday. The women's team is home November 29th against Auburn. Both teams are on the road next. The men at Savannah State tomorrow night at 8. The women are off to Thompson Bowling Arena to take on Tennessee, as storied a program as there is in women's basketball, at 7 o'clock on Friday. How much is scheduling that game, as we're joined now by women's coach Kevin Cook, is about the experience and the opportunity to play in a hollowed ground.
That's a huge part of the scheduling. You know, it's going to be an experience. As soon as the show is over tonight, we're going to board the bus and head to Knoxville, arguably the women's basketball capital of the universe. And we're going to get a good night's rest, and go to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame tomorrow. We're going to soak up that experience, because one thing that I think that we don't do on the women's side is talk about the history of our game and those who have come before us. Even recent stars, you know, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, there's not enough said about them, not enough said about the Maya Moores, the Tamika Catchings. These are the recent stars. But let's not even talk about the McGee twins. You know, one of the McGee twins is the mother of JaVale McGee from the Nuggets, more famous for that as she was a player, a two-time Olympian. And Lynette Woodard, the first female Harlem Globetrotter and a four-time All-American, who our team will meet, you know, later in the season when we go to Wichita State. But Dave, that's a huge part of it. You know, I hope that Coach Summit is around. If she's not around, at least we'll get to see her statue outside. But when it comes time to tip it off, we're going to play hard, and for all 40 minutes.
Well, and Holly Warlick's been there almost as long as Pat. I mean, she's been there over 30 years as a player and assistant coach. When our good friend Bobby Stevens, who's a color analyst, when he was a coach at Tennessee, they would play pickup games.
Oh yeah,
with Holly Warlick. But you know, they haven't really seemed to miss a beat. I mean, from on the court, obviously it's a very sad what's happened to Pat, but on the court, the transition basketball-wise has been almost seamless.
Absolutely. I mean, they only have, I think, 10 or 11 All-Americans on their roster. And, you know, one thing we're doing with our scout, we don't even talk about names. You know, we just give the numbers and their tendencies. And
is it a pronunciation issue?
For some of them, maybe. For myself, it's a pronunciation issue for every one of the players. But it's easy to remember the numbers, and we're not getting caught up in, you know, what they're about, and we're just getting caught up in what we got to do to be successful on Friday night.
Well, you start the season obviously very well against Gallaudet. Monday, there was probably a 8-minute stretch where things kind of went. People will look at the final score and make a judgment, but the game was a lot closer than the score indicated.
Absolutely, and Furman will tell you that. It was a night where shots that normally go down for us just didn't go down, and there was a couple times that we had the score tied and we had possession, and I thought if we could just score and get ahead, it would give us confidence to finish the game. But we were never able to make that key stop or hit the key bucket. And I mean, we had so many shots roll around and out, and that was tough. But there's going to be nights like that, and on nights like that, your defense has got to come through. And they had a kid come in, Ellis, and she just shot the eyes out of the basket, and it was one of those nights for her. She had a career night, and that's what it took for them to get us at our place. But we're going to turn the page and work hard and as hard as we can at Tennessee.
Shaquille Nunn was named the Big South Conference Player of the Week, 39 points on Saturday, 2 straight double-doubles to start the season. And I know that's one of the aspects of how you want this team to play is to get inside, and you've been able to do that the first 2 games.
As I've said many times, Shaquilla had a great off-season. Her work ethic has been tremendous. Her desire to get better each and every day has been incredible. And she's still trying to get better, you know, each and every day, as is our team. But she's been an example of what hard work is all about. She comes early. She looks at film. She studies the game. And remember, we've talked about this before. This is a young woman who didn't really start playing until her sophomore season, playing in earnest. You know what I'm saying. And so she's still learning the game, and she's still getting better and better each and every practice.
You know, Dave mentioned it when you're talking about Tennessee. When you look at the history of the game, and I think the next for the women's game, the next evolution is to get the mid majors, to get the upsets, for Winthrop's to beat Clemson's on Monday night, or beat Tennessee, and that gap seems to be closing. Maybe 5-10 years ago it was a greater golf, but it looks like the mid major programs are starting to close that gap a little bit.
Step by step, this topic could take 2 or 3 different shows. We could talk about it for eons. But as Coach Burt Bob, who's in the house again tonight, will tell you, there's just not as many females playing as there are males. And, look, we got to compete with cheerleading. We got to compete with volleyball. We've got to compete with lacrosse. We got to compete with all these other sports. And so the overall talent pool is not as deep in the women's game as is in the men's game, for some obvious reasons, some so not so obvious reasons. But it's coming. And you will get to see more and more upsets, as the years go by. And hopefully, we'll get in the tournament. And if we're a lower seed and you call it an upset, we want to be one of those programs.
Live at Buffalo Wild Wings with Winthrop women's basketball coach Kevin Cook. The Furman loss, there's no such thing as a good loss.
You got that right, partner.
Did you learn anything about your team that can help you moving forward?
Yes. And if we don't learn those lessons, unfortunately, we're going to have more nights like that.
And what are the lessons?
A couple of them I'll be able to talk about. A couple of them I don't want to talk about.
Let's go with the ones you can't talk about.
One of those lessons is we have got to control the boards. I mean, that's first and foremost. This is something that we've harped on in practice. I thought that I had us prepared to box out and rebound, but any time that you get beat on the boards 14, that's a butt whooping. And they took us behind the woodshed and spanked us on the boards, and I don't like that. I don't think our team likes that. And, this is an area that we're going to have to improve on. I've liked the way that we've taken care of the basketball. I mean, we've had very few turnovers the first couple games, and that trend is going to have to continue Friday night because, Tennessee's going to get up in us, and they're going to try to put their big boy pants on and pressure. We'll handle that. We've worked on that, and we'll continue to work on it in tomorrow's practice. But that's the key thing basketball-wise that we've got to fix, and that's the rebounds. One, we just cannot allow multiple attempts, and they had over 20 offensive rebounds, and that's way too many.
One other positive, too, was the 2 top players in the Southern Conference, the preseason player there, Brittany Hodges, and Holly Wilkins, who was a couple of points away. You guys did a great job in keeping them in check.
Yeah, those were 2 that we focused on. We focused on Bunn, their point guard, and Hodges and Wilkins. Hodges was hampered by fouls most of the night, but again, it was their X factors, their players that came off the bench, and I think what was it, a 34-2 advantage on bench points, and wow, it's tough to win ball games, with those kind of stats. You put that stat together combined with the rebounding stats, and there you have it.
All right, we're here at Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. Eagles head coach Kevin Cook joining us. We're a big treat. We're going to be joined by the members of the Winthrop women's basketball team, the defending Big South Conference champions, going off to Tennessee tonight. So we'll be talking to them. We'll start, just to give you guys a heads up, we'll start with Smyer and Taylor, but we'll come up with that coming up next here at Buffalo Wild Wings with Kevin Cook, Dave Friedman. I'm Mike Pacheco. We're back after this on the Winthrop Sports Network. Welcome back to the Winthrop Coaches Show here at Buffalo Wild Wings. I am Mike Pacheco, Dave Friedman alongside head coach Kevin Cook. We're about to be joined by the defending Big South champion Winthrop women's basketball team. Now remember here at Buffalo Wild Wings, 60-cent wings every Tuesday. You can follow us on Twitter at Friedman_Dave. I am at Mike Pacheco81, at W Eagles for the Winthrop University, at Pat Kelsey, Coach Kelsey for the Winthrop women's basketball team, at Winthrop WBB. But joined by Samaya Wright. Samaya, you've kind of been up and down here. The when you started things here, trying to get the program turned around last year, able to get to the top with the Big South Conference Championship. What give us a little flavor of what the 4 years has been like for you?
It's been long, but it's been fun. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself as a player and as a person. So it's been good.
What do you feel like you need to work on this year as you try to improve and get ready for your, the last year here at Winthrop? What are you trying to improve on?
Being more of a leader, talking more, because I have a hard time talking. I usually try to lead by example, but I have to step up and talk, be more vocal on defense and on the offensive end.
Now, we've seen some great moments you've been a part of, hitting a last-second shot at Campbell a couple years ago. Obviously, last year with a lot of the big games you guys had. For you personally, Saturday was a great start to the season. I think 6 of 7 overall, 5 of 5 from behind the arc. What's been working early season on with that long-range shooting?
I've just been working on it. Coach told me to work on my three-point ball and work on my shooting. So I just was taking shots over the off-season to get better.
Now, we've played at a lot of big venues, but coming up Thompson Bowling Arena Friday night, what are your thoughts going into playing at Tennessee?
Just to go and play hard. Just to have fun. Because it's a great experience. So I'm just going to have fun.
All right, Samaya, thanks for joining us here. We're going to hand it off now to Taylor. It's going to be like a relay here, Coach Cook. It's like we're going to do a little track element here. Just doing the
I like it.
handoff. Here you go. So Taylor Calvert joining us. Taylor, first of all, how are you doing? I see the boot on the foot. How are we doing health-wise?
I'm getting there. I practiced for the first time on Tuesday, and I feel great. So everything's going good.
What was the off season like for you? The first couple years, it's trying to win that championship, but now you have that target on your back. What's the off season been like for you?
Well, basically over the summer, I was trying to get off the championship high, basically. But now that I'm off that, it's just about the target, basically, and maintaining what we've built.
How important is it to take that momentum from last year and for you to instill that, what you learned and what your teammates learned, and instill that to the newcomers and try and build a tradition here at Winthrop? How important is that?
It's very important because, well, most of the team has been there before, but they haven't. So all they have is what we've learned from it and to pass on to them. So it's very important that we pass that on as a program.
What's your best Coach Cook story? Something funny.
Something funny. Help me out, guys.
I'm not a funny kind of guy, you know what I mean?
He's really funny, so they're all flooding my mind at once.
Well, Taylor Dane was the nickname.
Yeah. For the longest, I didn't know what that meant. So
A couple of her teammates asked, does he mean Great Dane? Are you like a dog?
Yeah, they thought I was a dog for the longest, and I actually did too for a while. But
the sad thing is I knew exactly what he was talking about, so that's that age thing. Well, Taylor, thanks for joining us here. Good luck on Friday night, and we can't wait to get you back out there on the court.
thanks.
Coach, how important is it that those two players, the two that just joined us, the seniors, lead this team?
Vital. You listen to Coach Kelsey and his comments about Derrick Henry and the leadership that he's shown and the role that he's taken. This is something that I've talked to these two about, along with Shaquila and Aaliyah Kilpatrick, and they have got to be the voices for us moving forward, and they are going to step up and, I know, be the leaders that we want them to be.
All right, now we're going to be joined by Shaquila Nunn, the reigning Big South Conference Player of the Week. So have a little round of applause for that. Congratulations. Great start for you. I know your continued growth has been a big part of the rebirth here at Winthrop. What was your off season like? Because I know Coach talked about it earlier. You put in a lot of hard work to get ready for your junior season.
I worked on a lot of foot speed, to get in better shape because I know last year I wasn't in the best shape I could be, and my injuries was preventing me from doing everything I was trying to do. So I just changed my diet and started working even harder. So.
And what was it the off season like with, the championship? For 2 years you were trying really hard to get it. Now heading into this season, you have that target on your back. What's that going to be like playing in the Big South, knowing that things are different now? Now that you guys are being chased instead of having to, you still have to chase the championship, but people are chasing you as well.
Yeah, well, I feel like at some point that we were ranked third, so it's just people still don't see what we're capable of doing. So I feel as if that target is going to stay on our back regardless, and we're just going to come play like every day.
All right, Shaquille, thank you so much. Congratulations on the big honor, Player of the Week here in the first week. We're going to take a quick time out here at Buffalo Wild Wings. Eagles getting ready to take on Tennessee on Friday night. You can join us on 104.1 The Bridge. Dave Friedman alongside Coach Cook. I am Mike Pacheco. You're listening to the Winthrop Sports Network. Welcome back to Buffalo Wild Wing, the Winthrop Coaches Show. Mike Pacheco, Dave Friedman, Coach Cook, Pam Decheva alongside, the redshirt junior from Sofia, Bulgaria. Stayed here over the off season. Did a lot of work with the marketing department. You probably learned a lot more baseball than you ever thought you would this summer working with the baseball team.
I had to do my internship, so.
What's your Winthrop experience been like? You transferred from South Carolina, part of the building process here at Winthrop. How's your time here been?
It's been great. I really enjoy being a part of the team, and the school is great for me. It's really different, but I like it. So.
Now, how's the transition? Obviously, a lot of European students, English is maybe like a second language. It's more of a current language than maybe here in the States where most kids only know one language. How's that adjustment been, kind of learning the American culture and kind of blending in?
In the beginning was kind of harder, but then afterwards I kind of got used to it, and still working on some stuff.
What's the toughest thing? The slang, like the?
Yeah, probably because we're in the South, so this was one thing that it was kind of harder.
What are you trying to work on in your game?
She understands the word swish. Swish.
So what are you trying to work on this year as opposed to last year? What are you trying to improve on?
I'm trying to improve my rebounding, and also I have to knock down shots when I get on the floor. So just work hard.
All right, Pam. Thanks so much. Good luck on Friday night, and we'll talk to you soon. Dave, Coach Cook, Zoe Vernon coming up next. Now she's going to elevate the intelligence on this broadcast here in a moment. Here.
Zoe Budd, I tell you, I am not worthy to be standing next to her in an academic kind of realm.
Well, your summer was very interesting. The research project that you did, not only is it educational, but hopefully will go a long way in doing some good in the community and with biology and everything. This is one of the
top scientists, okay, in America.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that, but this summer was a lot of fun, and I've actually continued to do the research in phylogenetics with my advisor like throughout the semester. So hopefully, like the stuff we're doing is, well, actually we have our paper in for publication right now. And so hopefully in a few weeks we'll find out whether it gets published or not.
In a thumbnail kind of way, Zoe, what is phylogenetics?
Basically understanding like evolutionary relationships between species and viruses and whatnot.
Interesting stuff. It's amazing what technology now, things you can do, and now a lot of the research you're able to do on campuses using computers and internet, and you're able to use a lot of different skills.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of what the research I do is really just pen and paper and trying to figure out math problems, and then it's a lot. I mean, it's really interesting how math applies to a lot of things, and like the field of math biology is actually like really growing right now. There's a lot of jobs and trying to figure out like designing drugs using math modeling and all that kind of stuff. So
I've already put my bid in. When Zoe graduates, okay, I'm going to her for a loan.
We talk to a lot of basketball coaches who talk basketball lingo. Can you explain to actual human beings who don't live and breathe basketball the difference between a hard hedge and going over the top in 3 sentences or less?
For setting a ball on ball screen, I would say, I mean, a hard hedge is what the defender of the screener's job is, to jump out on them. And then going over the top is for the person defending the girl with the ball, trying to stay on top of the screen.
Well, if the biology thing doesn't work out, you can always coach.
That would be fun.
All right, Zoe, thanks so much for giving us a few minutes. So the the biology stuff is fantastic, Coach.
And we're talking about Zoe looking for a cure for cancer and these kind of things, and she's just been great on and off the court, and she's continuing to work on her game. And I mean, we had to fight off a lot of Ivy League schools to get her here at Winthrop, and Winthrop University is a better place because it's here.
Well, joined by Aaliyah Kilpatrick. Aaliyah, from the Charlotte area, most of the folks probably know, kind of a neat opportunity for you to be able to stay at home. I know your mom and dad get to come to some games. What's it been like being at Winthrop?
It's been a good experience. Like you said, my parents are close by, so they get to come to every game. So it's kind of like I never really left home. So I like it. It's like a home away from home.
Now, how are you feeling? Last year you had to sit out with injury, but so far things looking good.
I feel good. I'm just glad to be back on the court, helping the team win games and get closer to winning a championship.
What do you think it's going to take for the Eagles to repeat this year?
Well, one, rebounding, but I just think that we have to believe and we just have to work hard, and I feel like we'll be able to get there again.
What about playing Tennessee? I know you've been able to see some great places with Winthrop. Obviously going with Duke was a great experience, but now Tennessee, obviously, you being from the South, Tennessee has a great national reputation. What's it going to be like playing at Tennessee?
It's going to be exciting. I'm just ready to go and show them what Winthrop's all about.
All right, Aaliyah, thanks for spending a few minutes here with us. And Coach, it's great opportunity.
AK in the house.
AK in the house, but it's great to not just do the regional and national and international recruiting, but it's also good to get kids from close by.
I give a lot of credit to Coach Christina Hamilton. She single-handedly recruited Aaliyah, and had the dickens of a time getting Aaliyah to come to campus. But once she came to campus, fell in love with it, and I was blessed to be there when she committed to us. And it was a happy day when AK became a Winthrop Eagle.
Well, CeCe Buford joining us now, and Coach has talked a lot, CeCe, that you work so well with not only your teammates but kind of the incoming teammates. Do we have a future coach on our hands?
I guess you could say that. I'm kind of a people person, so I like getting to know people, and I'm pretty charismatic, and I just like helping people figure out where they want to go, because I know the biggest thing for me. So I just want people who are coming in to have the best experience that they can have and learn everything they can.
What are you working on your game this year? What are you trying to improve upon?
I'm just working on continuing to work hard and put forth all the effort that I can and do what I can to help my team get better as well as myself. One of our themes this year is whatever it takes. So I just want to do whatever I can, whether it be being the biggest cheerleader or pushing my teammates in practice. So whatever I can to help.
Thanks so much for joining us, and good luck on Friday. Erica Williams will be joining us next. And Coach, I know you talked about the chemistry on this team. It's so important to have that. And year to year, it's a different component.
It's a different team every year, and I love this team. They're great individuals, and they're going to be great as a unit. We're trying to get our collective energy together, and so that we're all meshing as one. But it's getting there. But you look down our roster, and I love every one of our players, and they're all good people, and that's really a neat thing.
Well, we have a returner to the Coaches Show. Erica Williams joined us last year. Yeah, Big E joining us. Great freshman campaign. Erica, how do you with winning the championship, going to the NCAA tournament in your first year? I know that was very important. It was part of the goals that you set. Now, how do you follow that up?
We have big shoes to fill this year because we had two of our most important players graduated last year. So we have to step up definitely this year and play our roles. And whether that's like cheering or getting a rebound or scoring, it doesn't matter. We're all in.
Well, this year, now you go from being, and even early on in your freshman year, you kind of stepped into a leadership role. But now going into your sophomore year, how important is it to you for you to grow as a leader?
I have other leaders, so I don't have to like speak as much. But whatever I have to do to help my team win, I'm ready to do it. So I'm leading right now, and as an example, and showing like just playing my game. And later on in junior, senior year, I'll look to be more of a vocal leader.
All right, Erica, well, thanks for spending a few minutes here with us, and good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
That's Erica Williams joining us. Brandon Boyd coming up next. And Coach, great first year for Erica, and she'll be a key component here in year two for her.
Absolutely. Erica Williams is a tremendous player, powerful, can hurt you inside and out. And we're just lucky to have her on our roster. And we're lucky to have Bree Boyd. We just got to get her healthy.
Yeah, so Bree, take us through how are things going health-wise for you? I know the back was kind of acting up and probably won't be playing much this year.
I guess it's getting a little better. I mean, it's just taking time, so that's about it.
Now, what's kind of take us through the Winthrop experience for you? How's that gone for you?
It's been good.
She's an undercover comedian, Mike.
You got a joke for us?
No.
How about a Coach Cook story?
Let it rip, potato chips. Everybody's shy and not wanting to tell the story. Go ahead.
I mean, there's a lot, so it's kind of like hard just to pick one.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, well, continued good health. Get back and get healthy, okay?
Thank you.
All right, Renata Rogers will joining us next here as we have a couple of players that unfortunately you wanted to have kind of a bigger part this year, but injuries part of the game.
Unfortunately, yes, and we're just hoping that Renata heals well. She's a tremendous athlete and got great upside, and we're really looking forward to a full recovery.
So, I mean, take us through the recovery. How are things going right now?
It's going pretty well. I'm doing my physical therapy and rehab every day. So I'm just trying to get back stronger so I can be back on the court.
Now, how much time is it going to take for you to get back? You know how long the process is going to be?
It's estimated between 6 to 7 months. So it'll be a while.
And what's it been like being at Winthrop?
It's been great. It's really been great. I really enjoy the coaching staff, the school, and of course my teammates.
All right, well, let's try and cycle in a few more players. We're running a little bit short on time, but
Twins,
Jackson,
come on here.
Yeah.
Nuba and Naima, we've got to do them.
Double trouble.
Yes,
yeah.
Double mint twins.
How important was it for you guys to come to school together?
It was pretty important. At first, we kind of figured that we didn't want to, but as the recruiting process continued, we knew that we had to be a package deal.
So what's it like being at Winthrop?
It's good. I like the atmosphere, the environment, and I'm just happy to be here.
Thank you.
As close as they are, they compete. You know, I don't know whether it was new.
Well, Jamisha, tell us what the first couple months of Winthrop's been like for you.
I didn't.
Oh, what's the first couple months here at Winthrop? What's it been like for you?
It's been really nice. I've been enjoying myself, experiencing new things.
Ezene and Bamalu is not going to be at a loss for words.
Ezene, what's the experience been like for you?
Difficult but rewarding.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. You can join us on Friday. We'll have the broadcast here, 104.1 The Bridge, for Dave Friedman, Coach Cook, the Winthrop basketball team, Pat Kelsey, everybody else here. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on Friday on the Winthrop Sports Network.